Hey guys, Cody here from Western Pacific Landscaping. So right now I'm going to go over a Xeriscape kind of minor hillside project here in Pasadena. So in the majority of the yard we needed some definite grading. Some of the grades were kind of off to weird sides and weird angles and stuff. So we took some of the, you always want to take some of the soil out most of the time, unless the soil is already low, of course. But we got to take some of the soil out so that we don't have rocks overflowing on the curb and all that kind of stuff, right? So take some of the soil out, grade it. We got a really nice grade kind of coming down this way and a nice grade coming down here. And it looks like he does have a French drainage system back behind this wall, as you can see with this. So, so all this water will actually come back behind the wall, but it will drain out, which is very nice. So that's cool. It looks like they did that after they poured the driveway a very long time ago, probably like 40, 50 years ago. So here we used a charcoal colored gravel. It's hilarious because it actually, I didn't realize this when I was helping them decide on this, but it literally matches the siding of the house almost perfectly. It's really cool, and it doesn't clash either, which is kind of lucky in that case. Sometimes if you have a white house and you install a white gravel, it looks kind of stupid. You should have gone with a darker one for contrast. But this blend is very nice because we offset it with so many plants, right? So many colors with the plants, and so really altogether it just flows real nicely. So that was really nice. A little lucky, but real nice. And this is also one of my favorite gravels, the charcoal color. If you want to get a little close up in there, it's it's very minorly dusty right now. After some rains this winter with all the minerals from the rains, it'll clean that off just a little bit and maybe become a little bit darker, but that's about the color you're going to get with it. And now some of the specific plants we brought in through here, we have a random layout in here. That's what I like to do, a random but a grid type layout, and making sure that certain plants aren't right next to each other and all sorts of stuff like that, right? So it's kind of random, kind of not, right? So here we have, if you want to come in a little closer, we have an Artemisia. That's an Artemisia Palace Castle right there. Fantastic little plant if you want to get some white in there. I'm sure you've seen some very white, frosty looking plants. We can use a lot of those. A lot of them aren't very drought tolerant. This is one of the more drought tolerant ones. Some of these plants you'll notice, some of the flowers and some of the leaves themselves are not in the greatest shape. That's again because we are planting these in the middle of summer. Not a fantastic time to plant, early spring, and in the fall time is a little bit better time to plant. But we warranty these plants, and a vast majority of them are extremely drought tolerant. So even if they get a little bit shocked from the transplant, they could still actually, pop right back into life, right? So we got some kangaroo paw in there. That's probably either a red or an orange. Same one there. And then the yellows, this year in particular, the yellows are just doing extremely well. I mean, this is a fresh transplant. You can see the leaves are a little droopy down there, and that's fine. It's just a little bit shocked, but the flowers on the yellows this year are doing extraordinarily well because the reds are actually usually just as good, just as much height and health as the yellows, but they're doing very well this year. It's kind of nice. Here I have a rainbow New Zealand flax. This is from New Zealand. The kangaroo paw is actually an Australian New Zealand plant. So that's a rainbow New Zealand flax, oh, this might be a variegated. No, it's a rainbow. It's got the pink in there. And then I have the purple New Zealand flax, so like a dark red. That's always an extremely important color for heavy contrast in any drought-tolerant yard. I use those plants very, very often. I use a lot of these plants pretty often. This is a germander sage. Again, a little shocked, but you get these beautiful little blue flowers in there. And this is a gorgeous plant. Once these things get more mature, of course, it's gonna be better. Might do a new video even of this property when this fills out early next year. It's gonna be dramatic what it looks like up here. It's gonna be really nice. And then more kangaroo paws, not doing so well. I got a Russian sage here. It's in better shape than most of the Russian sages right now after my transplants. Another fantastic plant I use very often, that Russian sage and that germander sage, fantastic. And then this is an autumn sage. It gets to use some reddish, magenta-ish flowers. Sorry to show you a few pathetic plants, but they're going to get bigger and better, and they're gonna most likely survive the transplant. If they don't, then we warranty these things. This is a red yucca plant. You can see kind of the little hairs on the leaves, kind of a very interesting look. And these will be bright pink flowers when they bloom. These things are gorgeous. Obviously extremely drought tolerant, these yuccas. So they'll live through almost anything. Almost all these plants are very, very good. We brought in 3 citrus. I got 1, 2, 3, I think that's pomegranate. And then like a lemon and a lime or something like that is what we did. And so I got 1, 2, and 3 over there. And then more kangaroo palm, more red yucca, more artemisia. There's a magenta sage there, similar to the autumn sage. I like sticking to I've tried and tested all the different kinds of flowers and different kinds of native plants and different kinds of other types of plants and grasses and pretty much everything you could do drought tolerant wise. And I've just compiled a list of all my favorites, and that's usually what I present to people, and most people just love it, you know, especially when you want kind of a very diverse front yard. We're gonna get lots of hummingbirds, lots of bees, lots of butterflies out here for a lot of these plants, you know, so this is gonna be heaven for these guys in the springtime. And then, you know, a few more plants here and there, pretty much everything I said, magenta sage, New Zealand flax. Oh, this one's an important one here. Got a couple of them around. This is a Lomandra longifolia breeze. And it's just a very nice, very drought tolerant, very, very green plant. When this, again, most of these plants, they just need a little bit more height, a little more maturity. These are all 5-gallon size, so they're already pretty mature, but they're not at full maturity. And of course, I just planted them. So they look better in the pots before I planted them. Again, it's summer, so. You know, when this gets a little bit more thickness and more green, I mean, it's just a fantastic plant. All, again, very drought tolerant. And, you know, a couple more here and there, and we have, yeah, just more of the same all the way through. But a nice random layout so we can get the color, the different colors everywhere. This palm here was actually in a super random spot sitting right here when I first came in. I think this was just all dirt before. I actually don't even remember anymore. It's been a little bit. But it's obviously a ridiculous improvement to what it used to be. But it was just sitting right here before in some random spot, and it made the trees look bad and it made the palm look bad, so I said let's separate it, give it its own little spot kind of right next to your front pathway here. And it's obviously a very nice spot for him. And he's gonna actually grow tall. He'll grow all the way up, you know, 8-10 feet over time. And, you know, even coming down, let's get kind of a shot down here because it just, you know, from all angles, that's actually another citrus right there. That might have been theirs. I think they brought that one in right there. But from every angle, even with the shade and everything, you can get all the different colors in there, and it's really an interesting thing. So let's kind of see all these different angles. You know, we left this a little open, so it's kind of like a pathway from the street if you want to come this way, and it's just nice access if you want to do extra watering or for maintenance for the gardeners and stuff. So sometimes you can sneak that in and you only see that at one angle. You know, all the other angles you can't even notice it, especially again when all these plants fill out and get nice and big. This is going to look ridiculous at the end, you know. You pan out up there. And then of course beneath all this stuff we have a drip irrigation system running, so dripper hoses and heads run to every single plant up here. This is probably I think I had 2 valves coming this way. It's a good amount of plants and a little bit easier to maintain if I have 2 full valves with the amount of pressure and everything. One valve can only handle so many plants, you know. Luckily on this project, you know, I don't need 3 or 4 valves because I'm not going uphill. I can bring the irrigation through here and let gravity do the work on the irrigation, you know. So and another really cool thing about the gravel is where's irrigation? You don't even see it. It's really nice when you don't have to see your irrigation. Even looking at sprinkler heads in a grass lawn, I don't even like it, you know, because you can see it. You know, I don't really want to see the things that I don't want to see. I just want to see the plants and the beautiful gravel. That's it, you know. So, you know, start thinking about layout-wise what you want to do and where you want to put things, and I can help you. I can really help you on the idea of where things should go. And that's about it.